just a minute. So I have disallowed the option to unmute yourself, but feel free to write into chat and say where you're joining from. And I believe we're live now on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're joining us from those platforms, feel free to write into the comment section there and say where you're joining from. And if you are new to Feldenkrais Access, if you'd like to say something about yourself or your experience with the Feldenkrais method, or if you've been joining Feldenkrais Access for a while, we would love to hear from you, learn more about you. And we're going to get started in just a minute. And thank you to those of you who've written in so far. It's wonderful to have a kind of idea of the footprint we're making all around the world. A very global gathering. And I believe we're live on Instagram as well now. Welcome to those of you who've joined us from Instagram. Welcome to everyone. We will get started in just a minute. And if you're just joining us, please type into the chat if you're joining us on Zoom, or into the comment section if you're joining us on social media. We would very much like to hear from you. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Juniper. I am the managing producer for Feldenkrais Access, and I'm very happy to be here with you all for the first lesson of Joint Health and Recovery with David Zemach-Bersin. Sorry, I'm just changing the spotlights here. 1 second. Okay, sorry, welcome. So we're also joined today by Roz Ori, who's joining us from Tel Aviv, Israel, and Anastasi Siotis, who's joining us from Manhattan. The two of them are here to help if you have any questions or difficulties during the course of the lesson. If you're joining us on Zoom, you can reach them through the chat. And if you're joining us from another platform, you can reach them through the comment section. And even if you're joining from the recording later, you can type into the comment section of the recording. And please don't hesitate. They very much want to help. We all do. So please write in any questions that you may have now or later. And we're also joined by Nadia Genois, who's a Feldenkrais practitioner in Montreal. Nadia is helping by doing the lesson in a chair today. And if you need to modify the lesson into a sitting position for whatever reason, you can see how Nadia is engaging with the instructions in a chair. And if you need to see her more often, please type into the chat or the comment section and let me know, and I can show her more often. And I will also be periodically spotlighting our team of Feldenkrais practitioners who are doing the lesson along with you as instructed, and you'll be able to see how they're engaging with the lesson as well to provide a general visual guide. Also, if you're in the Zoom room and you have your camera turned on, if you could orient your camera in such a way that David can see you, that's super helpful for him and Roz and Anastasi as well. It allows David to direct the teaching to you. But if you don't wish to be seen, that's also fine. Just turn the camera off in the Zoom menu. And that's, one more announcement, which is that the early bird deadline for the program, if you haven't yet registered, is on Monday, September 16th. So please do take advantage of that if you would like to register for the series. Okay, handing you over to David.
Thank you, Juniper, and good to see everyone. Um, I've been a Feldenkrais teacher for over 50 years, and in that time, it's fair to say I have seen many, many people with what can be described in general terms as joint pain. Of course, no two people's experience of achy or painful joints is the same. For some, it's an occasional nuisance. And for others, it's a constant and unwanted, of course, part of life. For others, it's a discomfort in one particular joint, having hip joint pain, shoulder pain. And for others, is experienced as a pain or achiness of my entire body. Now, the cause, or at least to what we attribute our joint pain, can also be very different one person to another. For some, the cause can lie in what we know as a general underlying inflammatory condition. For others, the cause can be an injury to a joint or too much wear and tear in a specific point in a joint. For others, the cause can be arthritis or fibromyalgia. These are just a few of the causes. So, no matter the cause and no matter our age, I believe that all joint pain can be reduced, soothed, improved with the Feldenkrais lessons that we will do in this series. Now, how? There are many, many reasons, but one very important one is that by reducing our muscular effort, unnecessary muscular effort, or commonly called tension, shortens us. It's this contraction, this unnecessary effort compresses our joints and thus increases the internal wear and tear inside the joint. The second way is that the lessons improve joint pain by improving our overall neuromuscular organization. In other words, what's commonly called posture. Improving our posture reduces the ways in which we hold ourselves and move asymmetrically. So you'll find that in every lesson, we become more symmetrical. And as we become more symmetrical, we're reducing the uneven wear and tear inside our joints. So as you both improve your organization, reduce your effort, you'll find that all of your movements will become easier, lighter, freer, more comfortable, more pleasurable, and most importantly, there'll be less pain. Now, I would like to speak for just a moment before we get started to all of you who have never done a Feldenkrais lesson before. Feldenkrais lessons work in a very different way than conventional exercise. Firstly, we call these movement experiences lessons because our brain is learning something which is beneficial to ourselves by combining gentle, easy to do, neurologically important movements with a process of attending to our own internal kinesthetic experience. Feldenkrais lessons access and stimulate what we now call the neuroplastic capacities of our brain. This neuroplastic process, helps us to build new neurological pathways, and these new neurological pathways in turn give us choice and new options where before we had habits and habitual ways of moving and using ourselves. Now, Importantly, you can create the ideal conditions for your success while doing the lessons. And you do that by doing the movement slowly, only doing what is easy and comfortable for you, by avoiding pain and discomfort. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. And by making each movement small. So very, very different principles than common exercise. We don't want to work hard. We're also going to do something different. For maybe we're going to pause or rest, take a pause between each movement. So, but I'll remind you of all these ideas as we go along. And your only task is to remember to attend to yourself and take care of yourself. And importantly, for who is at this in this particular class, is to avoid doing anything that gives you the slightest bit of discomfort. So I think by following these guidelines, you'll see that you'll stimulate your nervous system and your brain to work on your behalf. So you could say this is the opposite of a muscle-centric approach. The okay, so that's my spiel for you before we start. And there's just one more thing I'd like to show you. Today's lesson will be mostly lying on the floor, lying on our back, and primarily. And so I would like to show you a little bit to some images to orient you and increase your comfort. Because for some of you, you may feel that lying on your back is uncomfortable. So we're going to do something to hopefully make it more comfortable. And I want to say that if lying on your back is you know that it's going to be uncomfortable no matter what we do, well, then I would suggest that you can do the lesson lying in bed, as long as you just get all the pillows out of the way. And if lying on your back, even in bed with that cushioning, is uncomfortable, then you can do the lesson, the entire lesson, sitting in a chair. And we have an very experienced practitioner, Nadia Genois, in Montreal, and Nadia will be demonstrating the lesson, the entire lesson, sitting in a chair. All right, and we will have other, again, experienced practitioners, longtime students of the Feldenkrais method, who will be doing the lesson alongside us. All right, Juniper, um, that's great. So in this first illustration, you can see, okay, this nice person is lying on their back, and you can see they look fundamentally comfortable. You would agree, I think. And now, here you can see that with this padding, Juniper, are you sure? No, we want too much now. Right. So if there is, thank you, I'm sorry. If there many of you, many of us have a tendency to think we need a pillow behind our head, or we do feel uncomfortable lying on our back. But you can see that now our friendly figure, their head is declined, their chin is close to their throat. That inhibits the movement of their diaphragm. And so that's too much. Now, for some people, for some people, their organization is such that, if we could have the next one, that you feel uncomfortable with your head hanging back, that the neck is too arched, Well, of course, that's going to be uncomfortable also. So my suggestion is that you do put for this nice person, I would suggest putting some padding behind their head, Juniper. Great. So you can see that suddenly they look much more comfortable. All right. Their head is neither declined nor inclined. In other words, it's not pulled, the chin isn't pulled down, nor is the head arched backwards. So, of course, you choose for yourself. But as a general rule, I would say the less padding behind your head, the better. Why? Because then your head is free to turn, free to look up, look down. It's more neutral than if you were to put something behind your head. But if you need to, please do. All right. So you need to have a space where you can lie with room so that you can maybe room to the right, room to the left, room where you can bring your arms up, room where maybe your legs will get a little longer. Take your time. And now we're going to spend just a minute sensing our contact with the floor before we do the lesson. Why do we do this? We do this in order that as the lesson goes on, you're going to have a basis and the ability to compare how you're lying on the floor. And it's not that you need to write anything down, not that you need to even make an effort to remember how you're lying. I promise you'll feel the difference. So bring your arms down so that they're symmetrical alongside you, your palms facing the floor. Your legs are separated shoulder width apart. And maybe put your hands on your lower abdomen and just observe if you can feel the movement of your lower abdomen as you inhale and exhale, not trying to inhale and exhale in some unique or particular way. And also, if you're uncomfortable with your legs long, you can bend your knees and stand your feet. But otherwise, if as long as it's comfortable, please have your legs long. And now, as you inhale, see if you can allow your lower abdomen to expand. I know that there's many different ways of breathing, but see if just for a minute or two, as you inhale, and again in a simple way, you allow your lower abdomen to expand, and then exhale by blowing the air out of your mouth so that we make a distinction by inhaling through your nostrils and exhaling, blowing the air out, pushing the air out from your mouth. You don't have to open your mouth very much, do you? But you feel that when you inhale, your hands are moving, the palms of your hands are moving away from the floor. Of course, you can sense that movement to the right of your lower abdomen, to the left of your lower abdomen, and in the middle. That's a very simple distinction. For many of us, we breathe in an asymmetrical way. In other words, we breathe more on the right side of our abdomen or the left side of our abdomen. But don't concern yourself with that. You'll see that as the lesson goes on today, you'll already feel a difference in that. And we'll come back to it at the end. Now, just take a moment to observe your right foot, how your toes are directed to the right or towards the ceiling, and feel if you can just reduce the effort in your right leg. A lot of us, many of us, if not most of us, maintain a certain latent effort in ourselves, even when we're simply lying on the floor. You feel maybe not for you, but for most of us, there's something there that you can let go of. And you can feel the contact of the right side of your pelvis with the back of the floor and the lower back on your right side. And then do the same thing from your left leg, your left foot, your left toes, the angle of your toes to the ceiling or to the wall to the left of you. It might be different than your right leg, but don't change anything. We just want to feel ourselves honestly and accurately as we are in this moment. And just feel if you can let go of any effort in your left leg, and then bring your attention to the left side of your pelvis as it makes contact with the floor. And you might feel that the left side of your pelvis is pressing or is a little more weighted on the floor or less weighted on the floor than the right side of your pelvis. That's right. And then the left side of your lower back, you can compare that to the right side of your lower back. One side maybe is closer to the floor, more flush with the floor than the other side. That's it. And then bring your attention to your lower back where we find your spine. And just just using your attention and this kind of, as I said, internal attention, sensory attention, move your attention up your spine internally, just feeling where your spine is touching the floor and where it's not touching the floor. Very simple distinction. That's right. And you can come up, you can feel some vertebrae as you move up are touching the floor more clearly than others. And then there's the back of your neck. And then there's the weight of your head on the floor. And there's your right shoulder blade as it lies on the floor. Maybe there's effort there that you can let go of, certainly. And your left shoulder blade. And I'll do the same thing we did with your lower back. You feel the contact of your right shoulder blade compared to the contact of your left shoulder blade with the floor. The same or different? For most of us, it's different. Maybe we can't say immediately how it's different, but it feels different. There's a difference that we can perceive. And now the right side of your neck, and the left side of your neck. Maybe one side of your neck feels longer or shorter. Or maybe one side of your neck is a little more away from the floor than the other side. This is extremely common. And now just take a moment to see if you can put together these, I should say, false distinctions we've made about our legs and our shoulders, and but see if you can bring these images that we've developed in the last few minutes together as one image, including your arms, your hands, your legs, your feet, your spine, kind of like a child's stick drawing. All right. Very good. Now, very slowly, make a small movement of lengthening your left leg. Just think of your left leg lengthening away from your pelvis, away from your left hip joint. It's very small and very slow. And I would say that throughout today's lesson, the smaller you make the movement, the slower you make the movement, the bigger will be the improvement, the bigger will be the change. So you slowly, as you exhale, think of elongating your left leg. Now, each of us thinks of a different place in ourselves when we think of lengthening the left leg. But let's all organize this in the same way. Think of your left heel getting longer, as if your left leg were to lengthen all the way down to that wall below you, that it would be your heel that would touch the wall first. And just to remind you, you rest or pause between each movement. In other words, we not getting ready for the next movement, not making it something that's repetitious. Okay. Now, bend, please, your right knee and stand your right foot on the floor and see, is there something about bending your right knee and standing your right foot that makes it easier to lengthen your left leg? Just see. Thinking again of your left heel being what shall we say, the lead. It's your left heel that's organizing your intention to lengthen your left leg. That's right. As you exhale, just slowly. Okay. Stop for a moment. Stretch out your right leg so that you can observe, is there a difference that you can perceive, even just from those few movements we just did, between the feeling of your right leg and your left leg? The feeling, your perception of the left side of your lower back compared to the right side of your lower back. And now do the same thing from your right leg. Think of elongating your right leg. It gets longer. You can feel that your right leg is coming away from your pelvis. Maybe you feel a little bit that your pelvis is lengthening, making the movement small. easy, simple, congruent with you. Just to remind you again, if you feel the slightest bit of discomfort, make the movement, what, 80% less, 50% less, whatever you need to achieve that movement, to make that movement simple and easy. Because if you're feeling discomfort, then it's very difficult for you to pay attention. You know that. You know that pain it distracts us. Now, was the movement easier when you bent your opposite knee? Try. See if you can feel a difference. Bend your left knee this time. Stand your left foot on the floor. That's it. And now go ahead and again think of elongating your right leg and notice, is there something about lengthening your right leg that's a little different when you have your left knee bent? That's right. And just feel, where can you reduce your effort? As if that idea of doing less is more important than how much you move. We're not concerned with the length of your elongating your right leg, but you can feel that you have a very important joint there, your hip joint, and that the where your leg joins your pelvis in the hip joint, the acetabulum, you're lengthening your leg away from that joint, away from your pelvis. All right. Rest again for a moment. Not because we're tired, but just to observe. Is there a difference? A difference in what? A difference in how the right side of your lower back maybe is different? The length of your leg? The angle of your feet? And now please bend your right knee, stand your right foot on the floor. That's right. And slowly, slowly continue to lengthen your left leg. But notice, thinking of again of your left heel, but notice, does the orientation of your toes change as you elongate your left leg? In other words, do your toes go more towards the ceiling or more towards the floor to the left of you? Not saying one or the other is more desirable. Now, try intentionally turning your foot as you think of your heel getting longer. Think of flexing your left foot. That means bringing your toes toward your shin, and see if just doing that, making that one little change of flexing your ankle, that's right, makes the lengthening of your leg a little more, what do you say, effective, or clear to you in your mind's eye. All the while, again, the process is that is you using your attention to feel where you can do less work, less muscular work. Now, as you do that, can you turn your leg a little bit so that the outside edge of your left foot goes a little closer to the floor? You see that as you lengthen your leg away from your torso, away from your pelvis, you turn your leg as if the turning and the flexing of your foot are just one simple movement. As if you're externally rotating your left leg, but just simply, easily. All right. Please stop and please rest. And just observe the left side of your lower back compared to the right side of your lower back. And again, do that kind of scanning of yourself that we did at the very beginning. Feel your left shoulder compared to your right, maybe even the left side of your face. In other words, I'm suggesting to you that the changes in ourselves from paying attention to what we're doing can be felt through, they're general, they can be felt throughout ourselves. All right. Please stand your left foot and slowly think of your right heel getting longer and your left foot flexing, bringing your toes, the top of your foot toward your shin, toward your lower leg. That's it. And that should make it clear to you about this idea of your heel getting longer. Can you feel that? That automatically, when you bring your toes toward you, that's right, that your heel must lengthen. And again, just to be a friendly reminder, do less, always less, and more slowly, and to exhale as you lengthen your right leg. And now begin to do that idea of, at the same time, turning your right leg toward the floor. It means that the outside edge of your right foot comes a little closer to the floor. But just slowly, again, as you exhale, and feel where you can relax your face, your shoulders, your chest. That's it. That's why these Feldenkrais lessons are often referred to as awareness through movement, not awareness after the movement or before the movement, but as. That's right. And feel how your left leg is moving away from your hip joint. In other words, part of the strategy, or an important part of the strategy in today's lesson, is to try and create distance between the surfaces in the joint that maybe are a little too close to one another. That maybe that's the source of the discomfort. All right. Please rest again and just observe the right side of your face, your right shoulder. Please bend your right knee, stand your right foot. That's it. And turn your head to the right. Turn your head and eyes to the right, not the left, the right. That's it. And continue lengthening your left leg slowly, feeling where you can reduce your effort. That's it. Where you can do less, always less. That's that's the practice. That's the process of doing a Feldenkrais lesson. And the benefits to you, you will be immediately felt. That's it. Now, turn your head to the left and see, is there a difference in the ease with which your left leg lengthens? Or is it more difficult to lengthen your leg with your head to the left? That's it. And now try turning your head to the right again and see. You can compare. And this is also part of the process, is the learning in a basic, fundamental way to simply compare our sensations. Is there a difference? Many neuroscientists would propose that this sensing of differences is the fundamental reason that consciousness itself arose. And to be able to use that awareness to learn, to change how we do what we do. Okay, please stretch out your right leg. Good. Observe the left side of your lower back, the feeling of the length of your left leg. Bend your left knee, stand your left foot. That's right. Just easily, simply. And now turn your head to the left. Turn your head so your eyes are looking to the left. Leave your head there and lengthen your right leg. That's it. You'll see that there's something about turning your head to the left that enables the lengthening of your leg to be more effective, to be easier. Your spine lengthens a little more easily. And especially the musculature on the right side of yourself is more available to lengthen. Now, go ahead and turn your head and eyes to the right and feel the difference. You find that immediately when we turn our head to the right, it shortens us. Yes, of course, some of us may have this twist in our spine or that twist, but the fundamental property of our musculature responding to the orientation of our head is universal. In other words, the same thing happens in all of us. And if you need to, turn your head to the left again and feel the difference. Remember, it's your heel that's going to touch the wall first, not your toes. So, yeah, think of your heel lengthening. Beautiful. Okay, rest for just a moment. Just again, observe your breathing. Is something a little maybe easier? about your breathing? Put your hands on your lower abdomen and feel if you inhale and allow your lower abdomen to expand. Does it feel somehow a little more symmetrical? Because it's the relative length of our legs impacts the ability of our diaphragm to move. We are truly, the whole of ourselves is truly connected. Now, bend your right knee, stand your right foot. That's it. And now, again, as you lengthen your left leg and you flex your left foot, you exhale. We're just recapitulating everything that we've put together. And again, it's your heel, not your toes. And now turn your foot so that the outside edge of your foot goes toward the floor. That's right. Can you feel? Maybe put your hands on your pelvis, your right hand on the right side of your pelvis, the left hand on the left side of your pelvis, and see if you can feel that when you lengthen your left leg like that, your pelvis is turning the tiniest bit. You feel that? The left side of your pelvis tilts a little toward the floor. Just do what's easy, just what's comfortable. That's it. Good. Now, stay there for a moment and push, just gently, push your right foot against the floor so that you can roll your pelvis to the left. Just simply, just easily. That's it. You just gently, softly, you push your right foot to the floor and you use your right foot in that way as like a fulcrum to roll your pelvis to the left. Just to make what was unconscious a little clearer, a little more visible. And now stop and go ahead and lengthen, elongate your left leg again and see. Think of flexing the foot, exhaling, just what's easy. That's it. And you'll see if you combine that little pushing of your foot against the floor with the elongation of your leg, oh, yet a little easier. That's right. You'll see that a well-coordinated movement means a movement that's done with the least amount of effort. So you feel where you can do less. All right. Rest for a moment. Can you feel how each variation tends to affect us a little differently? Bend your left knee, stand your left foot. That's it. And slowly put your hands, your right hand on the right side of your pelvis, and the left hand on the left side. Gently resting there with your hands. Go ahead and elongate your right leg from your heel. That's right. Bending and feeling that bending in your ankle. Good. And just observe the that turning of the pelvis is there, isn't it? It may be very subtle, it may be hard to feel, but there's something Something is moving under your hands. Good. Now stop and just push your left foot against the floor and use that pushing. So your left knee remains toward the ceiling. That's it. Maybe you can feel your left knee probably gets a little longer, doesn't it? Lengthens a little as you roll your pelvis to the right. Doesn't have to be a big movement. Clear and small is better than big and strong. That's it. Just slowly. See if you can relax your stomach at the same time, or your jaw, or your throat. There's always this unnecessary effort to be found. As I said, I've been doing awareness through movement for more than 50 years. But I still find those bits of places where I'm tensing, contracting myself. All right. And now lengthen your right leg again, thinking from the heel and flexing the foot as you exhale, and just observe, is that movement of your pelvis more obvious? In other words, is it easier to detect than just 2 minutes ago? That's right. It's amazing how quickly we learn, how quickly we understand and appreciate ourselves differently. That's right. All right. Please rest and just observe your contact with the floor for a minute. Of course, your entire self has been moving, right? As you lengthen your leg, your spine lengthens, your shoulders are pulled, and your chest gets longer on one side. Now, and this time, bend your right knee, stand your right foot, and bring your left arm up overhead on the floor, but only where it's comfortable. That's it. So it's okay if your elbow is bent a little. The palm of your left hand is facing the ceiling. That's right. Doesn't have the left arm, you don't want it to be rigid, just where it can be comfortable, where your arm can be making contact with the floor. And if you need to, you can put something behind your arm. If there's something that's uncomfortable about bringing your arm up, you can put a pad, a pillow between your arm and the floor to kind of fill in the gap there. And now just make a very small movement, minimal, slowly, of lengthening your left arm in the same way that you've been lengthening your left leg. And so that you could say that your left arm is moving up the floor away from your pelvis in the same way that your left leg was moving away from your pelvis. But you make the movement small, nothing that gives you the slightest bit of discomfort. And then the same way you could say here, we're moving, we're lengthening the humerus, the bone of our upper arm, away from the shoulder joint. And you'll find that this is going to improve the circulation in your joints. And often when we feel joint pain, there's not just the inflammation, but the inflammation impedes the circulation. That's right. Very nice. Now, see if you can push, just gently, push your right foot against the floor to roll your pelvis to the left as you elongate your left arm. That's it. Just what's easy. You may feel in some very subtle way that your chest is turning to the left, that there's a slight rolling of your chest, but not I didn't suggest that you would start to do something. I suggest that so that you can just observe yourself. That's right. Are you exhaling? Are you feeling where you can do less? How you could make the movement maybe more comfortable, smaller? Good. All right. Please very slowly, bring your left arm down. And now just observe is there something different about the contact of your left shoulder blade with the floor? Can you perceive a difference in temperature of your left shoulder compared to your right shoulder? And now please bend your right knee again. Stand your right foot. Bring your left arm up, but only what's comfortable. Your palm facing the ceiling. And now slowly, very slowly, make a small movement, smaller the better, of lengthening your left arm and your left leg simultaneously as you exhale and as you relax your face and let your lips separate a little. That's right. And see if you can soften your eyes. That's it. That's very nice. It's as if your hand, your if you think of your middle finger as if your middle finger is going away from your left foot and your left foot is going away from your middle finger. And just feel, where can you do less? And as you do less, you'll see that this will allow your joints to move more safely. There'll be less compression in your joints. All right, please rest. And bring your arm down again slowly. And now feel. Is there a difference between the length of your left side and the length of your right side? the feeling of your left side of your face compared to the right side of your face. You might even be able to perceive that there's something more open about your left hip joint. Bend your left knee, stand your left foot, bring your right arm up, but just where you can rest your arm comfortably. That's right, just what's easy. And again, as you exhale, you just elongate from the back of your hand, your fingertips, and you can feel your lower arm moves away from your elbow, from your upper arm, and your upper arm moves away from your shoulder joint. So it's not big, it's not strong, there's no force, and you rest fully, completely between each one. We're not in a rush. And by not being in a rush, we can better be able to be present to ourselves. And it's this being present to ourselves, being able to sense and to pay attention that develops into an awareness that our brain immediately is pulled toward. Where the lesson is using the most fundamental language of our brain, movement. That's it. And what in neuroscience would be defined as we're reducing the number of calories, the amount of work needed to do the same thing. And our nervous system is all of life, I would say, is very attracted to that idea, pulled towards that idea. Very nice. Please slowly rest again. And of course, you can rest anytime you wish. You don't have to wait for me to suggest that you rest. Can you feel that the difference is felt more acutely on the side that we've been working with, the side that we've been paying attention to? In other words, it's our attention that's the most essential and valuable part in this process. Bring up your left arm and please turn your left arm, your other left arm, and bend your right knee. Good. And now slowly, see if you can put both of those movements together again of lengthening your left leg and lengthening your left arm. That's it. And pushing your right foot into the floor a little bit, gently, so that your pelvis rolls to the left. That's it. And now begin to turn your head to the left as you do that. As your pelvis rolls to the left, you turn your head and eyes a little to the left. That's it. And still you feel we're not doing anything differently. In other words, we're still thinking of our heel lengthening away from our hand lengthening away from the foot. That's it. Good. And now bring your right arm off the floor. Bring your right arm off the floor to be bent at the elbow, but the elbow toward the ceiling, so that you can gently, softly reach a little to the left with your right hand, your right arm, as your pelvis rolls to the left and your head turns, your eyes turn to the left. You reach, but gently, of course, slowly. You softly, you reach with your right arm to the left, so that you turn. Your chest is turning, your eyes are turning, your pelvis is turning. That's it. And your leg is still lengthening. And can you feel the outside edge of your left foot is maybe it's going all the way to the floor now. As you exhale, as you feel, where can I do less? That's it. Just easily. And if you feel discomfort anywhere, just use that as a friendly sign to do less, a suggestion to do less, maybe even less rolling, maybe less lengthening, because it's our intention that organizes our movement, our intention. Now, as you turn your head and eyes to the left, think that you want to look up toward your left hand. That's all, as if you wanted to look up toward your left hand. Some of you are already doing it spontaneously. All right, please stop. Is there a difference? A difference you can perceive? And think how just in this first lesson, your your ability to perceive differences has improved. Bend your left knee, stand your left foot, lengthen your right arm. That's right. And bring your left arm a little bit toward the ceiling, the elbow bent. That's right. And go ahead and slowly elongate your right leg and your right arm. Only what's easy. And if you reach a place where you feel, oh, I'm up against something, do less. Don't try to push to go through that point. That's right, because the apprehension or the anticipation of discomfort, well, does only one, the nervous system has only one response to that, and that's to contract our musculature. The nervous system is striving to avoid discomfort, avoid pain. Feel how your chest is turning. Again, your left knee remains toward the ceiling. Feel where you can soften your chest, your mouth, your eyes. That's it. And now begin to think of that idea of looking toward your right hand. means that the back of your neck contracts or arches a little. That's it. Feel what's happening to the outside edge of your right foot. That's right. Relax your face, your stomach. Very good. Please rest again for a moment. Observe your contact with the floor. Is that different from when we started? And can you feel that the difference is dispersed? It's spread over your entire self. Would you say that you're lying more symmetrically? Now, this time we're going to do one last variation with, we're going to hold our head. We're going to use both hands to hold our head. Means that your hands are gently, softly holding your face in front of your ears, and that all four fingers are pointed upwards, as if you were standing toward the ceiling, and your thumbs are behind you, as if under your skull. That's right, just gently. And you're not going to do anything special. You're not going to elongate your head. You're just going to keep your head stable. So your hands are relatively soft. And please bend your right knee, stand your right foot. And now lengthen your left leg as we've been doing, but don't allow your head to move, to follow your left leg. That's right. So you use your hands, especially your thumbs that are underneath your occipital bones, your skull from behind, and you inhibit your head from moving, from following, as the whole entire left side of yourself gets longer, just from that idea of your heel moving down, your left heel. That's it. As you exhale, good. Okay, now switch your legs and do the same thing with your right leg. Your elbows are towards the ceiling. Four fingers are in front of your ears on the side of your head, face. Your thumbs are under your occipital bones from behind. And you use, especially your thumbs, to inhibit your head from following the lengthening of your right leg. That's it. And still you're turning. The movement is from your heel. You're flexing your right foot. You're thinking of your heel getting long and feeling how, can you feel how the right side of your chest is opening up, lengthening as you do that? Of course you can. That's it. Now, lengthen your left leg. Stay there with your hands holding your head. And alternate a few times. In other words, your legs are open, separated about shoulder width apart. And now lengthen your right leg, turning your right foot to the outside. That's right. And now lengthen your left leg. That's it. And you can feel how each time you do that, your appreciation of the entire side of yourself changes as your joints open up and separate. In other words, we're creating space between the articular surfaces, the articulating surfaces of the joint. All right. Please stop. Please rest. Put your hands on your lower abdomen, please, and see if you can just inhale a few times with your mouth closed and then blowing the air out from your mouth, and your lower abdomen swelling when you inhale. Not, again, not in an exaggerated way. Beautiful. Please bend both knees and please slowly roll to your either side and slowly come up to sitting and slowly take your time, come up to standing. That's it. Take your time, but come to standing. And there's a few important things to notice as you stand. One, feel, is your perception that you are taller or shorter than when we started the lesson? In other words, do you have a feeling of length? Do you have a feeling that the top of your head is closer to the ceiling? And just take a moment to think, what does that mean about your joints? Would that possibly mean that there's a little more space in your joints? Certainly your joints are not tighter or more compressed than when we started. That's right. And your breathing, remember that idea of your abdomen expanding as you inhale. Feel where can you, even in standing, where could you reduce the effort? In other words, treating this idea of attending to ourselves as not something we only do when we're on the floor, but it can be a practice. And in that practice, we can learn to avoid the things that compromise our joints. And just feel in your being taller, maybe you're a little more symmetrical. That's right. And walk around for a moment and just observe if you feel, is there an ease in your hip joints, the movement of your legs? That's very nice. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming. I would like to thank everybody who has made today possible and all of the volunteers and their generosity and as well, Juniper and Ira and Anastasi and Roz. So thank you to everyone. The pleasure to be with